This video is brought to you by Midway USA. Support the channel by choosing Midway for your shooting and outdoor supplies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this episode of First Shots. This one,
Howdy, partner.
thank you. We are in Texas after all. This one's gonna be, an interesting one. Because
Yeah.
Henry, for, basically all the time, I would say every day, Henry tries to get me to buy some sort of antique, some CNR, some sort of antiquated firearm. He tells me I need more diversity in my collection.
The M1 Garand, did you get one?
Okay, but
Swedish Mauser, did you get one?
I am not ashamed, Henry, that I am a man of practicality and utility. And so I have a really tough time with anything that doesn't fall into that bucket. Except, in this case, I said, Henry, I've got an idea. I'm gonna get a lever gun. And Henry got so excited, he got his cowboy attire. He told me all about the gun that run the West. And then I got a lever gun, yes. Yes, Henry.
Okay, here you go. The gun that won the West and the gun that win the internet comment section.
Yes, exactly. Guys, this is our first lever gun video on the channel, and we have, in true Henry and Josh fashion, basically like representations of our taste in guns. Henry, classic, stock, as it always was and should be, and me trying to maximize practicality to, look, even for me, the tactical lever gun stuff is, I think I've said this in a live before, this is where I start to draw the line of Niet rifle is fine, but if I was gonna do one, it was gonna be this one from our buddy Steve up at MADPIG's, done up with the Midwest, the new Midwest furniture, the stock, and configured for shooting suppressed. So what do you say? Do we have at it here? Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I'd like to add, the most I've heard Josh talk about a lever gun was from the John Wick episode with the tracker.
That's right. Because it was a MADPIG's gun, and our kit was in the movie.
It wasn't just that. It was genuinely like the way they portray the modern levers on there.
Cool. It was cool.
It was cool.
So I have shot all of about 50 rounds through a lever gun ever.
All right.
So Henry, I'm gonna need your expertise here to teach me.
Now, if my setup is any indication, I am nice.
Woo!
My setup here is because I know we're gonna put this on the internet. People are gonna see the 1873. They're gonna be like, oh, he must be into cowboy action stuff. I am not. No, I think it's interesting. I like westerns, but really, this is the belt that I use when I go hunting. Like, this is not a cowboy anything. This is stuff that I find on the farm to put my stuff onto, because for a while I did live on a farm in East Texas, and I did really enjoy the hunting scene. And so, while yes, this is not like a really nice leather rig for stuff, it is like far from nice. It's like from the $10 bin at the sporting goods store that I put together when I was in college. This reminds me of good times, especially with our friend Bucky's chipmunk. This completes the look right here. You see this? All right, so first couple shots, I mean, 25. If that were a pig, you would have killed it. He's happy.
Ha!
So,
Lever gun stuff. But now I'm out of ammo and I don't know what to do.
so let's talk about the base firearm itself.
Right.
The big thing for this was the new Midwest stock, right?
But this is on a, what is this?
This is a Henry Big Boy.
Henry Big Boy.
The Extreme Big Boy. So Henry has traditionally made lever action guns. Now, it's not the same Henry as the Old West days, and I would say the Winchester model 1873 has roots from the Henry 1866. But Henry, as far as the modern lever actions, has been a base model for a lot of people to make their stuff. The Marlin and the Henrys.
Marlins, the Henrys, those are the two that I know as being
One of
like
the
the
reasons,
quintessential ones.
And one of the reasons for that, if you see when I fire the 1873,
Oh,
See that top eject?
top eject.
You're not going to mount an optic on that. So
We
one
got
of
the
the big
side
reasons
eject
for
there,
this
right?
is the side eject on these Henrys. Now, the other thing is that the new Henrys did is they put a loading gate, feed gate on the side. Traditionally, Henrys always just loaded from the feed tube,
Got it.
which is nice from a civilian perspective, but from a modernization perspective, it gets blocked by the rail. And so once they put the side gate on the new Henrys, I think it's a lot easier.
Hey, are you guys enjoying hanging out on range with us? Well, maybe you'd like to join the Patreon and hop into the private Discord. We'll see you guys there. Let's get back to it.
Oh, now, when you do load these, you could do this thing where put it in halfway,
Put it in halfway?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
right like that. So you kind of keeps it jammed open, and you could put the new round in so you don't end up digging your fingers into the feed gate over and over again. You see that?
I do.
Yeah.
This is going to take a little bit of practice.
It's a part of the enjoyment of shooting lever actions, though. Oh. This thing also captures the brass for me on the...
the old cap.
I have actually, this is the shortest range I've ever shot this thing. Usually I shoot this like, is that 38?
Yeah.
That's really quiet.
So this is a 357-38. That first few rounds there, that first tube was 357. This is 38, and as you can tell, I'll miss this one on purpose. This is a squirrel in the backyard gonna die type of gun, my man.
I mean, remember, these are not 22s, these are 158 grain.
This is undoubtedly me jamming it too quickly.
Okay, now,
right?
now take your time, take your time. When you run a lever, you want to make sure that you cycle the entire way. You don't...
Woo! Yeah, so that was definitely me getting a little over anxious with it. So, what I would say straight away, and what I can talk about here, again, my experience with lever guns is approximately 0, but I can tell that this action, just in comparison to some of the other ones that I've touched and felt, this action is really smooth. And I have to chalk that up to the fact that you know, Steve at MADPIG does his voodoo to clean up the action, clean up the loading gates, the action. The trigger on this is dumb, dude.
Yeah.
You should try this.
Yeah. I've actually never shot a modernized lever action before.
Oh, well, that made two of us. Here, let's trade. And I also would like to get your...
Gosh, the barrel is hot.
Yes. I also would like to get your feedback on the stock, given that you've been shooting this. My shoulder.
Okay, so I'm not... A lot of guys, they like the larger loops. I'm actually not used to the larger loops. That's really quiet.
Dude, that's dumb, isn't it? What about that trigger, too? Like,
I mean, try. Nice.
dumb, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
So-
this thing is
Yeah, so
sharp.
Here, let's try me. So the especially you see some of these like older lever actions. This type of stock is really not designed for prone shooting. If you look at some of the older European competition rifles, they have a bottom hook right here to hook underneath your armpit. It's to help you get a better and more stable grip stock placement while you're standing like this. So you can shoot it offhand a little easier. I mean, obviously at 25 yards, this isn't really showing the potential of these things, but really that's a good point that we could go into, is that the accuracy potential in these things are not like your AR-15 or even AR-9s or MP5s.
Just a little bit.
I mean, specifically the 1873 is a very loose action, not really locking up or anything. Nice. But yeah, the accuracy potential on these things specifically is like, I see like 5 or 6 inches at 100.
Yeah, okay, so pretty loose.
Yeah, but that thing should be a little better because it's shooting 38s and 357s.
Right, okay.
Because this I'm shooting 255 grain, 45 Colt.
Oh.
Full power, 45
I was going to
Colt.
say, that did feel stouter. I mean, obviously
Well,
for a
so-
number of reasons.
So a lot of guys, when they get these, they use it to shoot cowboy action, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's really like loaded low, but I don't shoot cowboy actions with these. I like to plink at targets with them. So I need the velocity, but then at the same time, even with the extra velocity, these things are not, I mean, the technology is just not there to get a solid lockup, and you're shooting pistol cartridges out of them.
Yeah, well, I want to talk in general about like the modern lever gun here and talk about it because you mentioned how this is enjoyable for you to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like you enjoy having fun with it. And look, guys, ultimately, I understand perfectly well that there are some states that make it extremely difficult to own modern carbines, right? Where you can't get ARs, you can't get that type of a rifle. And so something like this might actually be a viable solution, maybe, in terms of if you were to contrast it against like other solutions that might be available, like shotguns.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at something like this, for me here in Texas, where from a purely practical perspective, I've got the ARs, we've got everything we could possibly want. Like for me, this is just fun. Like this is a blast to just come and plink with.
Yeah.
I could see somebody having, like, we're gone through like a box of it already, and it's like.
Well, the lower reloading speed increases the time that you have to plink.
Well, you know what? That actually brings me back to some sort of, to be honest, like some childhood memories of being out there with like a pellet gun with my granddad and sort of like shooting, and that was my first exposure to marksmanship. But it reminds me more of that. There's not some massive concussion. It's not some big like. It doesn't take a lot of strength necessarily to run this. Like this is very simple and easy to run. And it's just enjoy. Did I sail that high?
Yeah, it's
I think that might have been loaded a little hot because I
it's
felt
all right.
good with where I had the dot.
It's all right.
So yeah, that's sort of where, from my use case, this kind of goes. And it's really interesting because so often, you look at this stuff and people they want to have a reason to hate on something or not enjoy it. And it's like, it's okay to do it for fun.
Well, I would say, like a lot of people who hate on them haven't tried them, right? So
Okay.
if you haven't tried it, why are you hating on it before you try it? It's actually fun to shoot. Like I like the classics.
Yeah.
But this
This
is a lot of fun to shoot.
This is
But
so
you were
comfortable to shoot.
talking about the practical use case of it, like being able to mount a light
Yes.
on it. It's got a shorter barrel, more maneuverable. In Texas, maybe it's more of a plinker, but let's say in California,
Yeah. You
Massachusetts,
Right, you could have a scenario where it's a viable option. Where, like, again, it's not like I want to be. Like, I don't want to be using that if I could be using an AR from a purely defensive perspective, but clearly it's functionally usable.
yeah,
Right?
and
It's clearly functionally usable. So, look, I mean, ultimately, again, worked over by MADPIG, so very, very comfortable to run, very nice trigger, very nice action, everything feels great. And then from a furniture and setup perspective, the rail system on this, super comfortable to hold and to feel. It feels just like an AR front end, especially with our Slate Black Industries kit.
Indeed.
Feels just like an AR front end.
What I've heard from Steve is that the stop has been actually one of the more popular items within lever action circles. So Josh was the main designer on the Slate stop. How does it feel to design one of the more popular lever action items?
For something that I know nothing about. Talk about accidentally falling into something.
Yeah. So the stock though, we were starting to compare these two, right?
I mean, obviously, it's not even a remotely fair comparison, but when you look at this configuration, This is a extremely comfortable stock to utilize. I would say, again, my experience is limited, but the butt pad, you get a rubber butt pad, but it's one of those flat-backed rubber butt pads. But what's interesting about it is it's not that type of rubber that like bends and contorts. It's like very firm. It almost feels like the back of like a Magpul CTR stock in many ways. So it feels very comfortable to use. You've got an aluminum chassis here. And one of the pieces that I specifically like, two of these elements. The first one is you've got the adjustable height cheek rest that is done, this is done out of polymer. So that's more comfortable than aluminum generally on your face. But I've got this one set to perfectly set me through the dot. But you can go down several settings as well as up additional settings if you need if you're going to run an LPVO or an optic of some sort, or if you're going to run the iron sights.
Is it co-witness right now?
No. No, even with the lowest aim point mount, it isn't co-witness.
Okay, so maybe with an RMR.
With a super low mount RMR, you could probably get a lower 1/3. And then the other thing that I was digging about this is you've got all of the shell holders, like the shell caddies, very reminiscent in my mind of
Is that how MADPIGs usually keeps their casings?
I have no idea what gun is hot not loaded though.
I'm just kind of curious. Like, if it were me running this,
yeah, you go upside down with them
because you would pull them out and then drop them in.
So I was looking at
but I'm curious if it would fall out. Like I don't know how.
That's why I orientated them the other way. I wasn't sure because I was thinking shotgun shells, and anytime that I have my shotgun shells aimed down and I start running the gun, I get there's way more recoil. Right. But anytime I would do that and start running it, well, they would fall out.
Oh.
Dang.
Did I miss that last one?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I've never worked the modern Henry action. There's a little that detent right here at the very end just locks.
Yeah, because you have to like lock it into place, right? Yeah. Right there.
Because with mine, the much older 1873, it is slick. I mean, it's just slicked down the entire way. Oh shit! As I said that. Now here's like one of the unfortunate things with lever actions. If you do end up with a jam.
Oh no.
Okay, that may work. Got it.
Dang, boy.
Yeehaw, cowboy. See, now, Josh, you've got your lever action now. The coolest thing about lever actions is to have a pistol that matches the caliber. Which this is like the pistol that I take hunting.
Is that a Schofield?
It is a Schofield.
Ah, cool.
Oh! It is not extremely accurate.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeehaw! Dude, that first shot, I don't think I had my ears enough.
Oh, really?
So one of the things we had asked Steve to do for us with this setup was to configure it so that I could run my Silencer Co. suppressor. This is the Omega 45, and with a tri-lug adapter. So that's how we have this suppressed, which is awesome. Obviously, shooting the 38 Special is an absolute kick. It feels like shooting a pellet gun. Ha!
That is really quiet. And it's a tri-lug mounted system?
It is. It's a tri-lug mounted system, so ooh, it's a little bit toasty, even with just being a pistol can. I do really need to work on the lever. I can feel my sweet little baby knuckles.
That lever is a little harder to work on. Plus, you don't you see these leather wraps I have?
Yeah.
That helps a lot, but mine, I was telling you.
You guys do paracord on these.
You could do paracord on them, but I like leather more. It feels more like bouncy whenever, like on the, because like basically you're using the back of your your knuckles to slam it down. And there's absolutely zero padding on these things when you do that.
Yeah, I can tell just by doing this at one time here, like from the stock.
No, it's not like loading a shotgun, dude.
No, I'm just trying to feel it. I think you're right. I think upside down would allow me to peel it off and then like put it in way.
Yeah, but only if it actually keeps it in.
Right. So these are Midwest's shell carriers. They do feel like quite firm. I wonder if over time if they loosen up. I mean, they're not hard to get it out of right now, but I just wonder if over time they would loosen up and then sort of like lose some tension. It's something to look at.
That's a nose.
Oh my gosh.
That's a left eye. That's a right eye.
Well done, Henry. The other thing too that we really aren't profiling here, especially because we're running like microphones and stuff, is sling configuration. So Midwest does do. What happened?
So something happened with a casing and it's jammed the action.
Oh,
But it's got eyes and a nose now.
looks like your shooting is done for the moment.
It is not, Josh. I have my 22. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys sort of why this thing jammed when we were in the field. And usually I clean this fairly often, but as of late I've just been pumping rounds through it and not cleaning it to figure out points like this, because this is a 19th century design. Now, right here, there's a lifter. It lifts the cartridges into the chamber. You'll see right here, it is not flush with the bottom. That means the lifter isn't all the way to the bottom. And now it cycles. The problem is, it's still not going all the way back down because it's a little gummed up from a lot of cartridges being fired out of it. And so what we'll do, we'll give it a deep clean. And now we know that that is one of the weak parts that requires cleaning more often. And now I know. So, 19th century problems, but still fascinating to learn about.
So these setups do have, you could do a sling configuration for like actually full-on sling setups. You have a QD swivel up front. This is just a Midwest one that's locked into the rail. And then the stock has two full QD ports here with the anti-rotation QD, as well as like a traditional sling stud at the base of the stock as well. Woo! Dude, this is, I could easily find myself like blowing like hundreds of rounds of ammunition.
It's like, is it hit?
It's hitting.
This is my Winchester 9422. It's no longer being manufactured, unfortunately, but Henry makes a similar model, I forget their lever action 22. And back in the day, my old roommate and I in college, we spend our summers up in Amarillo. We'd shoot jackrabbits in high winds like this with 22s.
Cool.
And they'd be running, and you'd have to like track them with the front sights. You know, whether he had two, one with buckhorns, I think.
Oh, cool.
And so like, you'd have to like track it, boom, and you'd see if you could hit the jackrabbit.
Nice. Woo boy. All right, gang. So with that, this is a First Shots episode. As you can see, total amateur trying to shoot this particular gun. I hope to get some time behind it and really like get to shoot it a bit more, get a little bit more proficient, and then bring it back around. Do some fun stuff with it.
Is it the most efficient firearm to use?
No.
Artificially, maybe, if you have legal constraints in your location. But does that mean it's bad? No, absolutely not. These things are extremely nostalgic. Whether you are a huge fan of Westerns, whether you work on a farm or you're a rancher, I mean, these things are just fun. Like, it adds a different element that an AR simply does not add to your shooting repertoire. And so, I mean, personally, if this is the kind of lever that you like, there's nothing wrong with it. If this is the kind of lever that you like to shoot jackrabbits with, nothing wrong with it. If this is what you like to shoot cowboy action with, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, honestly, to hate on something this much fun is just strange. This is just a good time on the range. And frankly, we filmed a couple things today. This is the most fun I had all day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, gang. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us for this episode of First Shots. Hopefully in the future, I can get some more time behind some lever guns and not quite be quite as much of an amateur. And Cowboy Henry can return to you in all of his glory.
Dude, this get up, this like farm boy get up is gonna like drive so many cowboy action shooters insane, because none of this is like genuine, period correct, dollar store cowboy type of stuff is what I am. I just enjoy having a good time with some good lever actions.
Gang, until next time, we'll see you in the range. The hat nod, oh my God.
716, this is Steel Knight 6, 4 Vic, 8 packs, Redcon 1, green to green, top copy, over.
Steel Knight 6, this is 716, roger, over. 16, Steel Knight 1, 1 pack, green, green, over. This is 716, roger, over.
16, Steel Knight 2, 1 Victor, 2 packs, Redcon 1.